were you like,
it
you
was
just
a paycheck,
stop it?
you know?
Yeah.
It was like working at ABC or anything else. It was a paycheck. It
Mm-hmm.
was, there's a certain amount of creativity that you could have too, because you have clients you're working for, you have a network you're working for, and they want something a certain way. And yeah, you bring the best that you can to it, but sometimes you just, as a director, you want to be super creative and you want to go, yeah, it would look super cool if we did this. And they're like, nah, let's stick to this.
Yeah.
So I had to get back to figuring out, like, why did I get into this? It was because I had something creative in me that I wanted to bring to the table and wanted the world to see, right? So I had to get back to filmmaking.
Yeah.
And when I'm on set, and even when I shoot stuff now, I'll do stuff like, even on the last film with Brian Austin Green on Pacerville, that movie, there was stuff in that movie that wasn't in the script. And I would do things, the camera crew and Brian and these guys would set things up, and I'd tell them, have them scream and do crazy things in this hallway. And they were like, what are we doing? This isn't in the script. I'm like, just trust me.
Yeah.
But ultimately, those were some of the highlights of the movie.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Paint Method Podcast. I'm assuming you're coming back, but if you're new here, welcome. My name is David Garibaldi, and I said it before, and I'll say it again, that this is a mindset podcast. I know paint is in the title, but it means so much more than just what I use it for here in the studio. Passion, action, intent, new, and teach. And these pillars that I've looked back on my journey and have thought about, how important those have played a role into helping me where I'm at now, but also creating where I go next. Also, if you're listening to this, be sure to follow this podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe, like, and you can share it as well. But for today's podcast, we are talking to someone who, we're from the same city, but his vision and his dreams have gone way, way beyond this. He shares, some gems about creative leadership, some gems about, even just pursuing something that's, bigger than this city. But we're speaking today with director, filmmaker, Nick Leisure. Let's go. We are all on our paint journey, but where are we now? And where do we go next? This is how. Passion, action, intent, new, teach. This is the Paint Method. Well, Nick, welcome. Actually, I would like to introduce the world to my stunt double. We're just going to throw some glasses on him. We're going to put him on stage.
Recording? Let's see.
Oh, yeah, let's put him on.
This is my Garibaldi look right
Look.
here.
Look,
You know what?
Go full screen. Go full. Who's who?
Yeah.
That's the thumbnail right there. That's
Wait,
it.
hold on. What's your dad's name?
Yeah. We start going like, Vincent.
What's he look like?
What's his real name? All right, it's Harold. No. That's funny. God, wouldn't that be crazy? You just meet someone randomly and then you start telling stories. I'm sure it's happened.
Oh, yeah. That would be crazy.
Yeah. But you are originally from Sacramento.
Born and raised in Sacramento.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that because I love this city so much, but I can only say raised.
Okay, so
feel
you're
like
born somewhere else, but
I was-
you came here when you were young.
Yeah, I was born in LA, grew up here in Sacramento.
Okay.
But even then, I mean, Sacramento in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I was 5 years old. It was a true cow town.
Totally.
I mean,
It's
correct
not
me if I'm
far
wrong.
from it now, but it's grown a little bit.
We've progressed just slightly. No, we've progressed quite a bit, but growing up here, we're gonna get into into your film life, but pre-film life, growing up here, what was that like in Sacramento? And what area was that?
I grew up on 19th and Capitol.
Okay.
Downtown. So my grandparents had a house on 19th and Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up working really hard and buying multiple houses on that block, and ended
Nice.
up retiring and renting those houses out. So right on the corner of 19th and Capitol was the first place I lived, and I grew up until I went to high school.
Yeah.
So I spent my childhood years running around downtown. State Capitol was one of our playgrounds and stuff like that. I used to skateboard a lot with my friends, and we'd get in trouble a lot for skateboarding inside the Capitol.
Yeah.
Because the marble floors and everything were so cool. We thought, hey, why not skating inside here? It was pretty cool.
You're already much cooler than me because I wasn't skateboarding. I was rollerblading growing up. I was one of those aggressive rollerbladers. You know, I remember seeing it on like X Games. I was like, skateboarding is cool. For some reason, I saw inline skates on a rail, and my heart connected with it.
I got into that when I was like in my teen years, some
Okay.
rollerblading, and we did some pretty stupid shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, I remember a bunch of us used to get together and jump in my buddy Andy's truck and come downtown and rollerblade and stuff. And on the way back, we were going to Elk Grove, and we had this, 16-year-old idea of like, hey, it'd be great if all of us just got out of the truck and held onto the back of the truck.
Oh yeah.
As
How
fast
many?
as we could go.
How many people?
It's like 8 of us.
Oh yeah, that's super
Yeah.
safe.
And my buddy was driving, and he's just smashing. He's yelling out like, oh, we're going 40, we're going 50, we're going 60. We're passing up like cars.
Oh
Like
my
on
God.
Laguna Boulevard, just flying with like 8 of us holding onto the back of this truck. And the stupid thing was like, we all thought, you know what? If I hit a bump or something, like no helmet, no pads, nothing.
Yeah.
So we're like, if I hit a bump or something, I'll just pull myself into the back of the truck, jump and pull myself in the back of the truck. That was, now I look back and I'm like,
Who fell?
Nobody fell.
Wow, I'm
We
impressed.
lucked out.
I was wondering where's this story going, and you're like, and that's
Nah.
how we lost Timothy.
Yeah. If we were going like 70, 80, I think if somebody fell, it would have been really bad.
Were you filming this at the time? Were you? I mean, were you
Nah.
into like skate videos or?
Back
there's no
then,
documentation.
I'm older than you, so
Slightly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stunt double.
yeah. But
Yeah. You're 39. Remember that when you go on stage, all right?
I'm 39 forever.
There you go.
Yeah, no, we didn't have access to cameras like that back then. It's not like today, Back then, you maybe had one or two of the uncles that had the high 8 cameras or the VHS cameras or something like that. So
Yeah. My early introduction to just film or video was when we were filming myself skating and my friends.
Mm.
We had some sort of, it wasn't a VHS, it was maybe like what came after that? Would you happen to know?
like the mini DVs and stuff like that.
Yeah, mini DV. And then we would put it on VHS, but we didn't have editing software. So we found a way to get a VCR. We put the VCR in with the footage, and we played music from another one, and it recorded over. I don't know how we did it, but we thought we were the shit editing these with like 2 VCRs. It was
That was part
so
of your
janky.
creative process.
We'll call it that.
Yeah.
We'll call it creativity.
I've got plenty of those stories, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when did you first get introduced to just like an early film inspiration? When something just clicked? How rollerblading was for me, life passion. But what was that click for you getting introduced to film?
So for me, growing up from 9, 10 years old, I was heavy into like martial arts and boxing, and
Okay.
got my first black belt in martial arts when I was 16. I remember competing quite a bit at 14, 15, 16 years old. And I was approached by a stuntman actually at one of the competitions saying, you should come do some stunts for some Hollywood movies and stuff. And I thought it was great. I was like, okay. I'm this young kid that's just ripped up and, in shape and then I tried to pursue that. Parents were like, nah, you're not going
How
to
far
Hollywood.
did you pursue that?
I tried to move. I tried to let's go to Hollywood.
Okay.
No, you're not doing it. Like, no, you need to finish school. You need to.
Yeah.
So
Did you actually like do any levels of stunts? Like
not
tumbles?
for movies.
Okay.
No, not until I got into actually doing the business. Then I
Yeah.
did some stuff, and I worked with some stunt people at that time. But when I was first starting out, because I started out as an actor,
Yeah.
didn't start out as a director. So
When you look back at that, their introduction to that world was Stuntman. And I know you've mentioned before you did acting. Could you imagine today, if you chose one of those paths? Like, could you imagine being one of those if you actually pursued it with the passion that you did with film?
I don't know. I definitely don't think I would want to be the stunt man, because I have a lot of friends who are some of the biggest stuntmen in the business, and I see what it's done to their bodies over the years.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that mine's in that great shape anymore either, but but I'm they're getting a lot of wear and tear, and you know what I mean. It's on the acting side. I mean, I don't know. I thought at one point I was gonna get to the point where I was just directing, and I was like, I can put myself in my own movies if I want to. And now that I've had the chance to, I mean, I had a small role in the last movie, Pacerville, but that was just because I didn't want to pay SAG for another actor for this couple lines.
Yeah.
So
How does that work? Is that part of like being a part of SAG? It's sort of your buy into the industry because you have to pay to be a part of it. And I'm assuming there's benefits, but for people getting into that industry, how does SAG work, or is it even beneficial?
I'm not a big fan of SAG, so
Screen Actors Guild, by the way.
yeah, Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
As far as directors and filmmakers, we're not a big fan of SAG. SAG is a union for the actors. There's some benefits to it, of course. Pension and health, things like that they take care of. They're more than often in the hot seat with actors that are pissed off at them because they're taking money.
Yeah.
Taking money from filmmakers because they're a union. So but generally, you have to do some productions that are union productions. You do a couple productions, you'll get some SAG eligible cards and things like that. Then you can join the union and you can pay the fees. And I know people that are SAG eligible that haven't paid the fees yet. They don't want to be in it because once you go union, you can't do independent stuff that's non-SAG. Yeah. So there's that, it's kind of wherever your career is at that point.
Yeah. And so how long did you do acting for? Because that's sort of like going from like, all right, I'm kind of like passionate about film in general. Now you're going to dip your toes in the film water.
Yeah. I was in Sacramento, and so there wasn't a lot of opportunities for it. And I was looking for any kind of way I could get in. And I had watched some kind of documentary on TV, and I saw an acting coach that was Cuba Gooding's acting coach.
Okay.
I actually reached out to her, and she basically gave me the advice of find somebody local because I wasn't in Los Angeles. I was in Sacramento. And so I started reaching out and looking for local people. I found Charlie Holiday, who was a staple in Sacramento, actor and teacher, phenomenal guy. And I talked to him on the phone, and I came in for one of his acting classes, and he was such a cool dude that I think I spent about 2.5, 3 hours after class just having some drinks with him and talking. And he was a guy that if anybody that knows Charlie, you would bring a bottle of Jameson for him and he would just talk to you all night long.
Good to know.
Yeah. So
when I see Charlie,
well, he passed away. He passed away a couple
rest in
years
peace.
ago.
Okay.
But
yeah,
great guy. He turned me on to Jack Lynn at the Pasadena Playhouse that did Shakespeare. I got into that after a while, and I started booking some commercials and stuff. I did a River Cats commercial in Sacramento. I did some SPC Global stuff. I started doing some independent feature films for other, filmmakers that I met, and started to work my way up. And at the same time, I was picking up cameras and shooting and trying to learn everything that I could about filmmaking.
Yeah. What were those early cameras? Because now, you throw a stick and hit 8 different cameras. What were you using at the time?
It was different back then. I think the very first camera I bought was a mini DV camera, and it was a commercial camera. You buy from Best Buy or something, but it was something that I could actually record on and try to, I was trying to figure out different types of shots and movements and things like that. And then it started to step up to, I bought a DVX 100 Panasonic, which was still a mini DV camera, but it was a filmmaker camera. Yeah. It was huge. And then a buddy of mine in Stockton and I were shooting this feature film that was a completely no budget feature film. And we were trying to get that cinematic look to it, and we didn't have DSLRs and all this stuff now like we do now. So we came up with this contraption where we had this. It was a big old contraption that had a board, and the camera was mounted to it. And we took the top of a photography camera off, and we shot down into the mirror, and then we used the actual lens on the photography camera to get that shallow depth field. And so it was pretty cool.
Did that work?
It did. It worked very loosely and sloppy back then.
Yeah. I mean, because now you throw a lens on that just does all the work for you.
Yeah, and I watched that transition because even some of the earlier music videos that I did in my career for like Too Short, Corrupt, these people, we didn't have DSLRs then either to shoot video on. So we were using, higher end production cameras with lettuce adapters that you could put, prime lenses and stuff onto.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot easier.
I remember there was a shift, trying to think, maybe it was like around 2008 when DSLRs started, you would hear that, Steven Spielberg is using a DSLR for the shots in the plane, for those really small, tight shots. And it started legitimizing DSLR cameras,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started becoming more affordable after that, and so on. But and at the same time, YouTube, was new as well. So you've got this like transition of it wasn't you don't have access at all,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're just professional filmmaker. Now there's this gray area in between. There's like this super hobbyist that can start getting into with the access of DSLR cameras.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more accessible now to make creative stuff and make it look good.
Yeah.
So as a filmmaker, I think you have to find that different edge now.
Yeah.
I mean, and how do you make it not look like a YouTuber? How do you make your film not look like, super HD or something that I think we're kind of going backwards to, at least the team that I have, where we're looking at stuff in lenses that are vintage type stuff and the type of bokehs and looks that you see out of those type of lenses and trying to find something more creative versus when I was first starting, we were younger, it was like, how do we get the more sharp HD full color type stuff? So
Yeah. I want to get a little nerdy. So what is that fine line that can make something look like a high-end YouTube video and then film? Is it the camera? Is it the lens? Is it the post-production? Is it everything? Like what defines the difference between a high-end, YouTube video and then film?
the person behind the camera,
Okay.
always the person behind the
Yeah.
camera.
And why is that?
Because you have to have an eye. I mean, there's relating it to even what you do is if I give somebody a paintbrush and a canvas, they're not going to paint what you paint, right?
This is true.
So
You never
Same
know. My
thing.
kids are pretty good.
but there's also guys out there I know that have very limited supply of stuff, even iPhones that shoot phenomenal stuff. And I know guys out there that are consistently buying new red cameras and stuff like that, and they're shooting stuff that just looks like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should see my videos. Yeah. I got I think I showed it to you. We have this Black Magic Pocket Cinema
Uh-huh.
here, and I'm learning how to use it, but it's nowhere near like friends of mine that shoot with that camera, and it's totally different. And you're so right, because there's like a dedication behind the tools, and then the foresight as a director to know how you're going to translate this later on. When you're thinking about, bringing all these shots together, because mostly when you're shooting films, you're shooting out of order most of the time, just for
Completely, yeah.
location, saving money, whatever that is. I guess outside of creativity, what's the next, high level skill set that is required to be a director?
Leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely have to have leadership because you're whether your crew is small or big, most of the time I have about 50 to 70 people on my set. So you have to be able to manage things as well and have a team of people that can manage as well with you, whether it be your producers and your, production managers, things like that. But everybody, comes together to make it happen. But at the end of the day, as a director, you have to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, because at the end of the day, you're going to get blamed.
Yeah.
Like the producer and everybody else, if the picture doesn't look good, they're not going to say, oh, you're a crappy producer. It's always going to go to the director, right? They're
Yeah.
gonna say your film sucked.
No, I mean, but that can be applied to really anything you do. Like when I say, even I tell this story about when I did America's Got Talent. I was an artist and a performer, but to be able to work with these 4 dancers to bring this idea to life, it had to look good, it had to be done in time. I had to become a leader, a better leader in that moment, and that is really what I think propelled us to go so far. But even after that, as I approach projects, even projects like this, that leadership element is it helps you level up every idea, because we can't do these things alone. We can only do so much alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what made you successful, right? You knew how to be a leader, and you knew how to set the goals that you wanted to get, but you knew that it wasn't going to take only you to do it. Right?
For
You
sure.
needed help,
No,
so.
for sure. Likewise. So, when you're approaching these projects, what's when the inspiration strikes? You're like, you read a book, you read a line. Like, what is that like? Because where you take an idea involve so many people and so many steps from financing, location. But I'm just curious, what is that moment like when you have that inspiration, or what is one of those moments that you've had?
Yeah, it happens to me a lot. Definitely when I'm flying.
Okay.
There's this thing where when I get on a plane too and I'm flying, even if it's, especially in the middle of the night, if I'm flying somewhere that's 2, 3 hours away and I'm on a plane, I'm headphones on, stuff like that. I'm thinking about things, and I'm usually on my phone writing stuff like that, ideas, stuff like that. So, um, sometimes stuff will just pop up, or I might see a magazine that has an article about something, and it might spark something, or I might see something on the street somebody's doing, spark something. I'm always trying to write stuff. I got tons and tons and dozens of notes of like movie ideas on my phones and stuff like that. But every now and then you get something where you're like, oh, this would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So from doing music videos, and then let's just say before you got full into films, what's that transition for you? What was that? Was it commercials? Was it?
I did a ton of commercials, and I
Okay.
was a creative director at ABC for a few years, and ended up doing everything from commercials for Last Man Standing, those type of shows, to local spots, image spots, things like that. So, and then I moved to Santa Monica, opened a studio down there for a couple years, and did some Nike commercials and stuff like that. Nike commercials and commercials in general pay the most money per second than anything.
Yes.
So, you can easily get caught up in the commercial world of just doing commercials. And I
Yeah.
actually had an agent I was working with at CAA at the time that would funnel me some commercial work, but um, that wasn't what I got into it for.
Yeah.
So
So did you get bored of that, or were you
it
like,
was
did
it
you
was a
just stop
paycheck.
it?
You know,
Yeah.
it was like working at ABC or anything else. It was a paycheck. It was there's a certain amount of creativity that you could have too, because you have clients you're working for, you have a network you're working for, and they want something a certain way, and yeah, you bring the best that you can to it, but sometimes you just, as a director, you want to be super creative and you want to go, yeah, it would look super cool if we did this. And they're like, nah, let's stick to this.
Yeah.
So I had to get back to figuring out, like, why did I get into this? It was because I had something creative in me that I wanted to bring to the table and wanted the world to see, right? So I had to get back to filmmaking.
Yeah.
And when I'm on set, and even when I shoot stuff now, I'll do stuff like, even on the last film with Brian Austin Green on Pacerville, that movie, there was stuff in that movie that wasn't in the script, and I would do things, the camera crew and Brian and these guys would set things up, and I tell them, have them scream and do crazy things in this hallway. And they were like, what are we doing? This isn't in the script. I'm like, just trust me.
Yeah.
But ultimately, those were some of the highlights of the movie, later. So I had this, and also because I've been through the process from writing all the way to post-production, editing, and finished product, I can see it in the post-production room afterwards too.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to need to transition from that shot to this shot.
Yeah. And I think anytime something starts feeling like a paycheck, it's time for a new challenge.
Yes.
You could just use that paycheck to fund your next challenge, but it still has to answer with the challenge. It's scary too, because if you got a family and a business to run and employees, you're thinking about them.
I think if you get into this business to be a director because you think you're going to make a ton of money, it's the wrong business for you.
Yeah.
I think that if you have to have the passion where you feel like, this is what I need to do, this is what I was supposed to do with my life, and whether the money comes or not, you got to pursue that.
Yeah.
I mean, and for me, that's how it always has been as a director, is what else am I going to do? Like, what else would I want to do? I mean, and I felt like directing was something that I had to do no matter what the paycheck was. And, it's nice when you start getting the bigger paychecks, of course, but even if I wasn't making more money, I would still do it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would still, be painting in a one-car garage if that's all that I was doing, because I just enjoy it. What's striking about you is I'll set this up with this. I've been able to be on different sets with different directors. 99.9% of directors are like almost out of their mind of energy. They're like a sergeant running a military crew.
pissed off yelling at everybody.
I mean, or there's just an intensity, and I get it. Time is money. You have to keep people on track, but you have a very calm spirit, and I don't know if I get that. Nick outside of the film set, or is there a film set Nick Leisure?
I'm pretty much the same on set.
Okay.
But there are points where, like on the last production, I think I had to yell one time.
Okay.
It was like we were filming something in the hallway and people kept talking, and my camera guys and sound guys are looking at me, and and my PAs were yelling, "Quiet on set," and people weren't being quiet on set.
Yeah.
Finally, I got out of my chair and was like, "Shut the fuck up." It was just like, and then it was just like, and then everything stopped.
Yeah.
And I think also because I don't do that normally, people go, "Oh shit."
Ooh, that's a secret weapon then, just be cool and calm, and then just like.
Because, when I was younger and I was shooting films, sometimes I would get caught up in that energy. And you got enough of that energy between actors and production crew and people that are yelling at each other because, they got to stick together for sometimes 14 to 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're tired and it's late nights. Sometimes we're shooting from, daytime to all the way the next day again, and you're seeing the sun go down and the sun come back up together, and everybody's worn out, and there's a threshold with everybody, right?
Yeah.
So some people get really antsy after a while, and they don't have as much patience, and they start arguing with each other. So there's enough of that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
So for me, I try to stay as calm as I can and focused on what I'm doing, and not try to let things upset me. It's like anything, any other business, you're going to have bumps in the road and things that happen that you have to fix, things you can't control really, and you have to either get pissed off and yell and scream and throw things like some directors do, or you figure out a solution for it quickly, so we don't spend more money.
I've seen it all. Man, I've seen some stuff fly across the set.
Oh yeah.
Before, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna paint now.
Yeah. And for me, it's also, I have to protect my energy. Me as a creative on set, I've got one shot to get this film in the can and get the most that I can out of it. And I've learned after multiple productions that I can't put myself in that space of being like pissed off and, yelling and all that, because now I'm not in my creative space anymore. Now I'm trying to calm myself down and figure out how we're going to finish out the day, right? So for me, I need to stay in that creative space and focused. I can let the assistants and the assistant directors and the producers and stuff get pissed off and yell at people.
Yeah.
So.
Not to get off track about the directing, but you have a background in boxing. Does that intensity or that mindset ever play a role in what you do now? Do you ever tap into that, even if it's the discipline, or what from that the boxing experience do you?
I think it was the boxing and the martial arts growing up, because it gave me the ability to really focus on a goal, whether it was getting to my next belt, getting my black belt, getting, whether it was in boxing, like, competing and, sparring with people and stuff like that, just really focused on, because you can't really think about anything else when you're boxing, right? You can't think about, you can, but you probably get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Right? So your laser focus is there. You're focused on one thing when you're boxing, right? So I think that kind of translated over to film. Definitely. It was like, let me focus on what I'm here for. Let me focus on what I'm doing, and don't let all the little things on the side, people yelling and all that type of stuff, like take my focus off.
Yeah.
So you see some of those boxers that are in the ring and there's people in the crowd yelling at them, and they're paying attention, and those are ones that are getting messed up. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Do you have a project that, started off, you're like, this is it, everything's going smooth, and then you see the footage in post and you're like, man, we didn't plan right, or you just didn't capture everything that you wanted to in the moment? Like, do you ever have those moments?
Project.
Okay.
Definitely the last project, Pacerville, that one hits theaters July 1st.
That's right.
That one I felt extremely happy with. Obviously there's more things that I felt like we could have done. There were other projects where I've shot projects in Mexico and different countries and stuff where Clear Shot, that's streaming right now. We had a lot of issues in the beginning with certain people and whatnot, things that were supposed to happen that didn't happen. And so we were on a short timeline, and there was times where we were fighting battles of, weather. We were fighting battles of like shooting at 5 o'clock in the morning, and police cars are getting fogged up, and we have to cut and have crew come in and wipe them down so it looks like it did in the prior scene, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then you're also on a big studio lot. You know what I mean? Baja Studios, Fox Baja Studios is a big lot, so that's where James Cameron did Titanic, and so you can't just say I'm coming back tomorrow to like knock this out, right? So there were certain things that we had to go, how do I piece this together and make a film out of it now, right? And so I had to go, okay, originally we had this scene happening here, and sometimes Mario Van Peebles was lead in that movie, and I'd pull him to the side and say, okay, we have all this, we've got this many pages to shoot today. How do we create a scene out of this now? And this is the idea I have, because we're not going to get through this today because of weather, because of whatever it may be. And that's where you have to start figuring out, how do I salvage this and make it a movie?
Yeah.
Right. So I look back, I don't watch my movies after it's done.
No,
Once
never?
the premiere is, nah.
You watch it at the premiere at least,
I
right?
I don't even watch it at the premiere because I watch it in post-production editing so many times.
Yeah.
It's like by the time I get to the premiere, I'm hanging out, I'm talking to people. I let them watch it. I'm more watching like the audience reaction.
Okay.
Because that kind of gives me feedback on like, am I doing something right? Am I doing something wrong? What this part of the movie, I think they're going to love this. If they didn't laugh or get scared or whatever, then I'm like, that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
are you able to make adjustments after the premiere?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I can make adjustments after the premiere. Not normally though. I mean, sometimes we'll do like a screening, like a private screening too, but I can make adjustments. I choose not to though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like when we do the premiere, it's usually a week or two before the actual premiere in theaters or going to the platform. So it's pretty much a locked picture at that point.
Did you ever have a moment where you're now deep into making these films, but you don't realize it until you kind of look up? Because I know how it can be, like momentum starts and you're in it. You're either going from one project to the next, or you're just so focused and you don't really have a chance to look up. Did you ever have one of those moments when you're into it and you realize like, holy shit, I'm making movies.
Every time I make a movie, man.
Yeah.
It's
it hasn't.
Yeah, it's it's a crazy thing. It's I do it on every movie. Whether it's I'm taking a 10-minute break or whatever type of thing, and people are running around, moving lights around, changing sets up, stuff like that. Sometimes I'll just sit and just kind of go through my script, and sometimes I'll just put it away and I'll just think about it, and I'll take a look around at everything and be like, there's nothing else that I would rather be doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's an amazing feeling. Like think
is.
about how many people dream about that, how many people have attempted it and still have not even been able to, raise the money or even just bring all the elements together to produce it, and then to see it through to the premiere, and then whether it's in theaters or streaming.
It kind of makes me sad, like when it premieres though, because I mean, I'm happy at the same time we're celebrating what we've accomplished, but it's like the end of the journey, right? Because then you look back at, I always tell people, even my crew and cast members, like, enjoy that journey. Enjoy when you're on set. You're going to have moments. There's moments on set that nobody will ever experience. I remember filming at McKinley Park, and I still haven't released the video yet, but I probably will at some point. And people were setting up. We had some time, and I'm hanging out with some of the actors, and Brian Austin Green is sitting over, on some bleachers and stuff. And one of my crew members came up and took a clip. It's it's like a little metal clip that you would clip onto things, and clipped it onto my shirt and stuff. So we started messing around clipping it onto other people's shirts, and I had this wild idea that here's this lead actor I have in town that I don't know that great yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to him on the phone a few times, and we just started making the movie. I was like, it'd be really cool if I ran up and we filmed a behind the scenes of me just clipping it on his nipple. Because he's sitting there with a t-shirt on. I'm just like, clip it on the nipple, right? So I did it. The rest of the crew was like, oh shit. Like, Brian was like, like you screaming, and he was like, all right, I'm going to get you back. And he probably will after he sees this.
He hasn't got you back yet?
He hasn't got me back yet. But
Brian.
he will.
Brian, I'll hold him down for you, man. I got you.
Yeah. So, but I mean, those moments, there's certain and we had a lot of other moments too with a lot of the other actors and things we look back on and like, this was really fun. Or we had great time together, and you get to bond. You bond with these people like family.
Yeah.
You're with
It's
them
like
so
you're
much.
it's like you're on a ship with people you're out to sea, you know, and with those crews, whether it's 10 or 100, it's you become family with them. We've been able to experience that by going on tours, and you get to know these like touring crews, and then get to the end of the tour and you're like, all these people, like 100 people, like you just bye. Summer camp's over.
I always feel like these people should stay in contact with you too. Some of them do, very little amount do.
There are some that I definitely stay in contact with, and they were, people that kind of were like looking out for me on the tour, and really, really special people. So
yeah,
so there's some others I would not want to talk to again, but
I've had those
there's
too.
some great ones.
Yeah, yeah, there are. Continue to build with them.
Yeah, when you're bringing this idea to life in the beginning, and you've got like a list of actors in place, is there still a dream actor you'd want to work with, no matter what the script is? Because usually I'm thinking you're like, I've got a script, I got to put this person there. Is there a...
You mean when I'm actually looking to cast, or like, is there a dream actor that I want to work with?
A dream actor that you want to work with, that you want to just create a film with?
I mean, I know there's probably going to be some different views on it. Will Smith is one, definitely.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro.
Okay.
Somebody that I grew up watching. We all did, There's certain... I look at it differently now too, that I'm in the business working and I have access to these people. So it's more like, for me, it's more like, who's am I not going to stress out with on set? And on top of it, who can bring the best performance for that role, right? So it's not like when you're a little kid and you're like, oh, it's a star, and it's more like, I get actors that are big name actors that want to be in some of the productions that we do, and I don't use them because you hear things from other producers that they've worked with before that work with me. They're like, oh, they're a pain in the ass, or they're always causing issues, or they want too much, or they're too much of a diva, and for me, it's just, I like people that are super chill, like that get there, work hard, get the job done, take it seriously, and don't act like a diva. Right? So and Brian was that way too on the last product. He was phenomenal. He was one of the most easiest guys to work with.
Yeah. Well, when you're working with them so close, does it feel like you have to be a peer or a coach, or a mixture of the two? Because you still have to get a performance out of them based on the vision that you see.
Yeah. So I'll tell them, this is my vision. This is how I see it. And then I try to work with them on that. And if it doesn't come across natural, I will say to them, like, how would you say this? How would you, how would you portray this to the camera? If you could say anything and rewrite this portion of the script, how would you do it? And then sometimes I do things to make them feel uncomfortable to get the performance I want out of them. Like with, on some productions, if I want somebody to look really crazy and we're shooting, I might schedule that shoot at 3:00 in the morning and tell them they can't have coffee that day. And they're like really out of it, and they're just kind of like, they're out of it. Or there's certain little tricks that you learn in the business that you want somebody to limp on a set, throw a rock inside their shoe. They don't have to think about it no more, right? So it just becomes like, where I'm stepping on this and it hurts, you're gonna start limping, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just coming up with creative ways but also working with the actors to get the best performance out of them that you can. It's much better. I always tell people it's much better to change the lines a little bit and let them say it the way that they would normally say it, or, because you'll get the better performance out of it.
Yeah. How many years are you into directing now? Not just in the
You're
movie.
gonna age me, man.
Just there's a reason
Over
for this.
20 years.
Over 20 years. So 20 years, you've gained a lot of knowledge.
Yes.
You've gained a lot of experience and things that you can only learn by throwing yourself into the situation. are you at a point now where while you're still building, creating, because you can do this your whole life, but is there a part of you that wants to impart this knowledge somehow, like any form of, mentorship or
Yeah, I
even if it's
do.
unofficially doing it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I work with some high school kids. I work with some interns. Every production I do, we have interns that come on set. We had a couple high school kids on the last one. Alan's that works with me. He's
Yeah.
been working
Shout
with
out
me
to
since.
Alan's is
Yeah, shout out to
dope, man.
Alan's dope photographer, editor, shooter, and
Yeah,
stuff.
he's probably hiding somewhere, taking a
Somewhere
photo
in the
of you.
studio
Yeah,
somewhere. Yeah,
from
but
above.
he was working with me when he was 16. He's 20 now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm always trying to, educate the next level of directors that are coming up, the next generation. I mean, and figure out who we can add to the team too. I don't want to direct the rest of my life.
No,
I mean,
why not?
I'd love to produce stuff for other directors too, even some of the kids that are coming up underneath us. I'd love to see them get in that role of being a director and then be able to sit back and produce or even executive produce stuff where I can just look and go, okay, this is something that I built, and hopefully they'll pass that on to the next generation.
Is directing still feel like you're in the league? Like, for example, like how a player would be, is the director, but also the coach is not as active per se, but they're looking from above.
Yeah, and I'm in the league, but I'm still not LeBron. You know what I mean? I'm on the team, but I'm still like on the bench, and they're still throwing me in the game a little bit here and there. But
still working.
So I'm working my way up to be closer to a LeBron or a Kobe or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've still got a long ways to go when it comes to it.
How hard is it being from Sacramento? And hold on, you're like, that's it. Podcast is over. How hard is it being from Sacramento and having Hollywood dreams? And I say Hollywood in general, as in
it's
wanting
a
to be in
hate relationship, man, because Sacramento, when you're born and raised in Sacramento, your family is from here. You have so many people here, friends. A lot of my friends have grown up to become the restaurant owners, the nightclub owners, things like that. And a lot of them are very successful. A lot of them have moved away. But because it's the hometown and there aren't very many filmmakers in Sacramento that are really doing it on a professional level continuously, you have access to things, locations, things like that, and that you can get that you wouldn't have elsewhere. But it's a constant struggle because you don't have a lot of creatives either that you can really work with, or at least for me, that I can look up to and grow. I mean, if in Los Angeles, there's a lot of people that you can grow because you can learn from. And I feel like life is always about continually learning, no matter at what level you're at. You're always continually learning, right? So when we talk about Kobe used to talk about how he'd get in before practice and stay after practice and shoot more, but he was already at the top of his game, right? So for me, it's kind of the same thing where I'm not at the top of my game yet, but I am in my game.
Yeah.
But in the league, I'm still trying to learn more. I'm still trying to do more. I'm spending more time doing things outside of not just directing, but every aspect of the filmmaking process. And I'm there for pre-production. I'm there for post-production. I'm there testing lenses and cameras with my cinematographers and DPs. And then I'm in, sound afterwards and working with sound design. And even though that's not my position, I'm the director, and I might say, hey, tweak this a little bit or give me something else that feels a little bit more like this. And, so I'm striving to get to a point where I don't have to do that much anymore, at some point in time where I can actually just show up and direct and focus only on that. But I don't know if I'll ever get to that.
Yeah, that's because there's a curiosity that's driving you. You're curious about how could we do this better? How could we, just learn a new tool, whether it's a lens. You were showing me lenses last time we talked. These handmade lenses.
Yeah.
Like you get to that point to find those when you've exhausted so many options. You're like, what else is there? You can't. It seems impossible to quiet the curiosity.
Well, I think also it has to do with perfecting your craft even more and growing. What can I do better than I did on the last production? I'm already looking at the next productions I'm doing. What can I do better on this next production that I didn't do on the last production? I mean, what can I do to polish it a little bit more? And that's when we get into looking at the fine details of like these lenses give a certain look, a certain feel. You know what I mean? But are you always trying to do something better than you did the last time? Because if you're just like, I'm just going to do the same thing I did every single time, then you're never going to grow. And you might as well just work a 9 to 5, right?
You're done.
You're done. The creativity is gone.
Yeah.
So, but that's probably also why I say I don't really watch my movies anymore after they're done. But I've gone through it so many times, and for months and months after production is done and in the edit bay, where I know the movie inside and out. I know every little thing that's on the picture, and I can look back and go, okay, I did this and I made this mistake on the last movie. Maybe the audience didn't see it, but I saw it.
Yeah.
So let me figure out how to make this better on the next one.
You know what I pick up a lot and I love in films is the awareness of pace. Mm-hmm. So it related to dance where you could just do 1 and 2 and 3 rhythm. And 4, or you can go zoom, like you find this pace. When you're in the editing bay, I know this happens before, but is there something that gets you into a rhythm of finding a pace to either increase tension or release, or do you have any like specific techniques with that you tap into or fill out? Because that it changes a lot.
Yeah, it's when you're cutting, especially when you're editing in a movie, you have a certain vision of how it's going to be, and it may not always come out exactly that way, or sometimes it does come out that way, and you're like, well, how can I make this bigger, right? Like, how can I polish this even more? And a lot of times that's not in the cinematography anymore, but the color grading, the sound design behind it, Sometimes I get excited where I'm like, damn, the color and the lighting and the cinematography, the movement of this shot was just phenomenal. The scene is amazing. How do I make this feel bigger? Mm-hmm. And so now I bring in, scoring, and now I bring in like musicians and stuff, and I go, give me this feel. Like, this is the type of feel I want. I might even pull something from another movie or a clip on YouTube or just a sound and say, I want this to feel scary. I want it to feel gradually building. I want it to feel intense, whatever it is. And then I, build on that, and that kind of gives it that polish to it.
Yeah. It's like a mixture of emotion and story. Mm-hmm. Those two things.
Because all those things are a part of your emotion, right? Your sight, your taste, your smell, your hearing, all of it is part of it. So, trying to tap into those different senses when it comes to looking at it from a viewer's point of view.
Yeah.
And not just the director's.
Do you think there's a common theme throughout Nick Leisure films? When you look at, say, a Steven Spielberg, there's like a certain type of stories that he tells, or any other director. Is there a through line for you of stories that you are gravitate towards, or even the way that you tell these stories?
I don't know yet, because at one point in my career, a couple of years ago, I thought, I want to be that director that does thrillers, does gangster movies, at first I did a lot of like gangster mafia type stuff, right? And but then there's other times where I'm like, man, I'd love to just throw people off and do like a love story.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what? Nick Leisure did that? Like, didn't see that coming. You know what I mean? So I think it's more about the challenge for me of putting something down in history forever.
Yeah.
Putting something down that people can enjoy. And I think, I may not be good at every single thing. I may not be good at doing a love story. Mm-hmm. I might be phenomenal at it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But until that happens, it's another challenge that I'm going to probably face at some point in time.
Like most people in, that are creating, there's like an ultimate goal. Is an Oscar an ultimate goal, or any form of an award at that?
Oscar, you know what is weird with me, and people will probably think I'm crazy. I want to be nominated for an Oscar. I don't necessarily know if I want an Oscar until maybe when I'm old.
Okay.
Because I feel like,
why is that?
At least for me, if I'm nominated for an Oscar, I know that I'm doing something on a caliber and a level that is at the top of the game. Once you win the Oscar, then what's next? Mm-hmm. And for me, I feel like I should always have something that I'm striving for. And once you get that Oscar, it's like, yeah, you can say, well, you can create another movie and you can win another Oscar and you can. Yeah, but I mean, I've gotten quite a few awards in filmmaking over the years and stuff, and I'm not really looking to go win those awards again, right? So at the time, it's like, oh man, I want to win this. I want to, even starting, in my earlier career, like I want to win the Sacramento Film Festival, right?
Mm-hmm.
You win the Sacramento Film Festival, you get some, awards and stuff, and then it's
Yeah.
like, and I love them, I support them all the time. Marty's a good shout out to Marty, he's a good
Yeah.
friend of mine,
Yeah.
but you grow and you grow, and it becomes bigger than just your city, and it becomes bigger than that. And I don't want to ever feel like, at least for me, when I accomplish something, I feel like there has to be something bigger that I need to do, right? And so I think if I'm nominated for an Oscar
Mm-hmm.
for many years to come, and then maybe I get it when I'm like 70 or 80,
Yeah.
that might be kind of cool.
Yeah. And I've never won. I don't think I've won an award at all ever for what I do. I think they're like, can we just give you something to go away? No. No. But that's what's interesting about that world is that there are these awards that say that you've accomplished this one thing, but for most people, that's not what drives us. It is really seeing a project through. There's no better feeling of that accomplishment, and then what's next?
Well, the best award for me is to be able to get up every day and do what I love to do for a living. And majority of the world gets up and hates their job, right? They're looking forward to happy hour. They're looking forward to Friday. And for me, I get people all the time, friends that text me, hey, it's Friday. I'm like, Friday means nothing to me.
Yeah.
I work Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday. The week means nothing to me. It's I'm not working a 9 to 5, so I'm working 24-hour shift when it comes to filmmaking. So I think the fact that I can get up and use my creativity to make a great living and to make an impact on people too is, I couldn't ask for anything better than that. So.
Yeah. No, man. You're blessed, man, and
Same with
it's
you too,
inspiring.
man.
No, thank you, man. But it's inspiring because, we are both from Sacramento. There's a lot of challenges being here, living here, growing
Sac
here.
needs to get it together. Okay.
All
And
right.
I want to put it out there just because,
Yeah.
and I don't want to shit on my city. But
No. But we can
it's-
be honest about it.
there's a lot of really creative people from Sacramento, in Sacramento. The leadership in Sacramento needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be people in place that can help facilitate the creatives here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and when the creatives like us go to those leaders, as we have, and talk to them about certain programs, plans, things like that to make the city bigger, they should be open to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are just stuck in their feet. They don't want to move. They're not creatives, and they don't see the bigger picture. But at the end of the day, it's like, how do you not see the bigger picture of there's more money. There's money being spent, especially in film, right? So every production we do, there may be $200,000-$400,000 that is spent in the local economy within a short period of time, 2 to 3 weeks to shoot that, feature. So I think that there needs to be some changes made in this city. You look and you can't say, oh, just because it's a cow town or whatever. You look at Austin, Texas, right?
Yeah.
We talk about that. It's
huge.
a couple
It's growing.
$1 billion worth of film production going on there.
Yeah.
In the middle of Texas, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
It's created, it's very big on creatives, music, film.
Mm-hmm.
You got Tyler Perry Studios out there. You got all kinds of stuff going on. So you can't say like, oh, we're a cow town. We're the capital of California. We should be thriving.
Yeah.
We should be really thriving and changing this place where they keep painting that water tower from what City of Trees to like Farm to Fork to like this should be, we're the capital of California.
Yeah.
Like
I would add to that the leaders should be less gatekeepers and more of a conduit
yes.
for attracting creators and then transferring that energy to benefit the city.
And utilize the people that you have here, the creatives. Even with you, right? I mean, we've got these murals all over Sacramento on the walls, right? Were you involved in any of those?
Not at all.
Okay, then.
And it's no secret because you'll never see a mural or my association with that festival. but I've never been asked. Matter of fact, I'll put it out there. When I was asked to sponsor it.
So you got one of the biggest painters, performance painter in the world.
And I've done
in
murals.
Sacramento.
I've done a massive mural here at Uriah Faber's gym.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example of a leader in Sacramento saying, "Hey, here's a canvas." We hired artists. I hired artists to help me with this, and it was a collaborative, amazing moment.
Yes.
But you know,
But that's a one-on-one. That's with you and Uriah.
That's
not the leaders of the city,
a
right?
relationship, but also that relationship is built over time. And leaders in the creative economy here, you have to build the relationships over time. Go have a coffee meeting. Go just stop by for 15 minutes and say hi, and repeat that every quarter. Put it on your calendar that you're making time to plug in with other creative leaders. That's how we build these relationships. That's why we're able to do so much. And so here's the thing. I don't need to be part of a mural festival, but I think it's important to break down those doors. Again, not looking at like gatekeepers. Don't
it needs
start
to be
something
part of
else.
the community. It
Yeah.
needs to be a community thing.
You know, because I would say that I would be able to bring attention to it that another artist may not be able to.
Yes.
And I think it's amazing that they're bringing artists from around the world here, but there's some incredible artists here already.
Yeah.
And you know, whenever they want to talk, I'm always here. I've never not been here.
Why are they bringing artists from around the world though? It should be a Sacramento thing.
I would say the cool thing about mural festivals and bringing artists from around the world is it does bring sort of like a more of a collaborative energy. You know, they bring a different idea that we may not have thought of here. Also, I think the Shepherd Ferry mural is incredible because it brought attention that even myself couldn't bring. You know, it was covered nationally in art news or internationally through his work as well. So there are benefits through that.
I get that, but you should include some of the locals too.
I agree. You know, again, I've always been available, and when I answered the phone, they asked me to sponsor. I was like, you know what, never mind. And we moved on.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, it's the same thing with me. There's a lot of things that I do for kids in the community and, you know, giving back. Oh, can you come speak at this, whether it's a film festival or a school and things like that. But then it's like, how about when I need to make something? Or how about involving me in something, right?
You know what's crazy? I just thought about this. My old studio on 12th and R Street, I was there for about 5 years. I moved in and built that place up before the warehouse artist lofts were done. And at some point, I think it was after they asked me to sponsor the festival, I was like, if I'm going to pay for something, I actually ended up hiring just an artist to do a mural. Not even me. I didn't even do the mural on the outside of that building. I actually paid an artist because I didn't want to give it to an organization that really didn't. I don't think they really believed in me. So I was like, I believe in this artist. Let's do something special. And we ended up doing it. But I'm also like that. I'll also put my money where my mouth is. Yeah. I mean, we're here on Broadway and 5th. You know, this studio.
It's a great studio, man.
Man, I will always put my money where my mouth is.
I love it. Like I said, when I came on here, I felt like I should be walking out from like a David Letterman set or something. Yeah, you know,
we can special effects. We can make that happen. You know, no, man. But I appreciate you so much for just making the time to be here. We've talked before this. We've known each other for many years. I did your podcast, and I know there's a lot more for us to create. Together.
It's great together.
But I think about today, most importantly, is what you've shared from your journey, what you've learned. I think people who are listening to this or watching this can take these bits and these gems away and apply it to their paint journey. And you know, we're lucky to be artists and creators, but I really want anyone who's watching this or listening to this to feel that sense of creativity by envisioning what's next in their life and learning these skill sets and tools to bring it to life. That's what we essentially get to do every single day in different forms. So I appreciate you just sharing that with our audience. Yeah, man. We'll talk. I'm sure we're going to create something soon.
Most definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.